Hello students, hope you are doing well. In your previous class, you have studied about the SN1 mechanism. In this class, we are going to see the SN2 mechanism. Let's see what you mean by SN2. Here, SN2 means bimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. As already we see the SN1 mechanism, similar in the format it also. Okay, let's see in what does the SN2 mechanism mean and how does it proceed. Okay, let's see the general reaction for this. Okay, let me take an alkyl halide. Alkyl halide. Okay, in the first step itself, it's going to be attacked by the nucleophile. We see in respect to the SN1 mechanism, in the first step there is a formation of the carbocation in the SN1 mechanism. But in the case of SN2 mechanism, there will be no formation of any intermediate. But instead of the intermediate, in the SN2 mechanism, there is a formation of transition state. Okay, let's see, and it also follows the concerted mechanism. Okay, in this case, the nucleophile will attack the alkyl halide in the first step itself by the backside attack. Okay, the nucleophile always prefer the attacking of alkyl halide with the backside. Around 180 degree opposite the attack will be feasible. Why so? Why? Because the halide group is very bulkier in compared to the nucleophile. That's why it always prefer to attack from the backside. But after the attacking of the nucleophile, there is a generation of a transition state will be formed. Okay, how does it form? Let's see. Here is your alkyl group, and here we are having your halide group, and in the left side, in the just opposite to the alkyl halide, here your attacked terminal, here is your nucleophile will be present like this. Here there is a formation, as I already told you that here there is a formation of transition state. Here there is a formation of transition state. Transition state is generated in the case of SN2 mechanism. Here it is having a form of geometry. We call it as TBP geometry. We call it as TBP geometry. We call it as TBP. What does TBP means? Here TBP stands for trigonal bipyramidal geometry. Okay, the transition state having the trigonal bipyramidal geometry. Remember that transition state always will written in the form of in the square root. We always written. Okay, we should remember that in this case, after the attacking of the nucleophile with respect to the alkyl halide, there is a formation of mechanism. That mechanism called as concerted mechanism. Concerted mechanism. Concerted mechanism. What does concerted mechanism means? Here concerted mechanism means here is a alkyl and halide. There is a breaking down of a bond between R and X, and there is a formation of bond between alkyl and the nucleophile. Okay, this is to be known as concerted mechanism. Okay, after the formation of transition state, the alkyl halide will be moving outside by forming and nucleophile is going to, after the attack of the nucleophile, by forming the transition state here. Okay, after the removal of the halogen element, that is our leaving group, there is a formation of the product will be like this. The product will look like this. Okay, the product will look like this. There is formation, as you can see here, RNU. But let's see the product, the reagent, the substrate, Rx. You can observe that the nucleophile has been attacked from the backside. Attack is favored in the case of SN2. Remember that the backside attack is favored in this case. The product which is formed in compared to the SN mechanism, this type of product, okay, this type of product formation, we call it as inverted product or inversion product. We call it as inversion product. Why we call it inversion product? Why? Because the attack of the nucleophile for the alkyl group is just backside or by the opposite side. We call it as inversion. In the naming, by it's given, this method is given by a scientist called Walden. That's why this type of inversion we call it as Walden inversion type of mechanism. Remember this? The SN2 mechanism always prefer the Walden inversion product, where the nucleophile will attack the backside attack. Remember this, the attack of the nucleophile, which is going to be of the slowest step. The slowest step we consider it as our RDS step. You already know that what I mean RDS. Here RDS means for rate determining step, where the rate of order of the reactivity depends on the both substrate and the nucleophile. Remember this SN2 mechanism always preferred to be a one step mechanism. Okay, let's see the characteristic of the SN2 mechanism. Let me read the characteristics. Characteristics. Okay, let's see the point wise. The first one, the SN2 mechanism is a one step process. SN2 mechanism is a one step process. Okay, next, the rate of, or we call it as order of kinetic order. The kinetic order is bimolecular, as the name suggests. It is bimolecular. It is bimolecular, or you call it as second order kinetics. It follows the second order kinetics. Second order kinetics type of reaction. Let's see on which the reaction depends. The rate is directly depend on the slowest step. Definitely the rate determining step. As we see the rate determining step involves the both nucleophile and the alkyl halide called as a substrate. That's why I'm writing here in the concentration of nucleophile and the concentration of the substrate. The concentration of the substrate. That's why we call it as bimolecular type of reaction. Okay, this order like a form. Let me check whether there is a formation of any intermediate here. Definitely no. In this case, there is a formation of the transition state. In this case, in the SN2 mechanism, we are obtaining the transition state here. Which type of does this transition exhibit? This exhibit by the TBP geometry. Is exhibit by the TBP, that is to be known as trigonal bipyramidal geometry. Okay, let's see on which type of solvent used here in this case. In this case, we are using the polar aprotic solvent. In this case, we are using the polar aprotic solvent. Polar aprotic solvent is used here. Okay, can you tell any examples for the polar aprotic solvent? Let's see the example as DMF. First one is a DMF. Next, DMSO, and acetone. The common aprotic solvent, the polar aprotic solvent is named as today of, that is DMF, DMSO, and your acetone is used in the case of the SN2 mechanism. Okay. Okay, let's see the order of this reaction. Okay, the order will follow like this. The order of SN2 mechanism follows the primary alkyl halide, secondary alkyl halide, and a tertiary alkyl halide will follow the order for the reactivity of that. Okay, the primary alkyl halide will follow the faster rate of reaction, and secondary, and last one is tertiary. Why? Because why primary alkyl halide will react faster? Why? Because of in the primary alkyl there is no way, there is no crowding is to be having, or we call it as there is no steric hindrance. But in the case of tertiary alkyl halide, you may going to find the tertiary alkyl halide. In this case, in the case of the tertiary alkyl halide, you are going to find the more steric hindrance. Okay, let's see the alkyl halides, that is Ri, RBr, RCl, and RF. By the formation of the Ri, RBr, RCl, and RF, Ri will form the easiest formation of the SN2 mechanism will be easily followed by this one. Okay, let's see another example. Let's see the mechanism of this reaction. Okay, let's see the easiest mechanism just for your understanding. Okay. Mechanism for SN2 mechanism. Okay, let's understand by one example. Okay, let me take an example like this. Okay, I'm taking the methyl halide. Just in this case, I'm considering the any simple methyl halide. I'm here considering this case. Okay, let's see, taking here first methyl halide here. Okay. Here we are having the bromide, that is methyl bromide. I am taking this case. Here your hydrogen have been attached in this case. Okay. Here the hydrogen were present. Let's see the which nucleophile I am going to be taken. Okay. Let me consider your nucleophile here. Nucleophile I am taking here as NaI. That is your sodium iodide. We have to consider a solvent. In this case, I am considering the solvent as of acetone. Acetone I am taking as a solvent here. Let's form the transition state. Let's form okay, you already know that where the nucleophile is going to attack. Definitely you know that delta minus I, that is going to be formation of delta plus for the sodium. Okay, because of alkali character. Okay, let's see from where does it going to attack. Okay, definitely we know that iodine is going to attack from the back side. Okay, is going to attack the iodine, is going to attack the least hindered site of the hydrogen in the methyl bromide case. Okay, let's see the transition state. That's how it's going to be formed. The transition state, let me form. How does it going to be generated here? Okay, in the center we are finding your carbon, and in the right side you are having your bromide, which is going to broke next in the next step. In this step, there is a formation of new bond between carbon and iodide. In the iodide is going to be generated here, and your hydrogens, one hydrogen is going to present here like this, and rest of your two hydrogen will be present like this. Okay, let me show in the dash position. Okay, here are your hydrogen, and there is your wedge position. Another hydrogen is present in this side. Okay, this is to be, you already know that this transition state, we call it as transition state. In which geometry does it produce? Okay, it is in the form of TBP geometry. Okay, try to mark it as star here. Why? Well, because it is a transition state having the trigonal base pyramidal geometry. TBP geometry is going to be produced. Okay, this is a concentrated mechanism. You have to remember that SN2 mechanism always follow the only one step reaction. Okay, let's see after the why, because we already know that transition states are very unstable in the form. Okay, transition states are very unstable. Okay, after the unstable form, we will see the how does the breaking of bond in the, we can already know that this bromide is going to be eliminated with the help with the sodium element. Okay, sodium element is going to be form a product with that. There is formation of sodium bromide is going to be generated here. Okay, let's write the product of which type of product is going to be formed here. Okay, the iodine is going to attack from the back side, definitely I is going to form here. Okay, the rest of the hydrogen elements, let me write here the hydrogen here, the hydrogen, and this hydrogen is going to be generated here. With that, we are going to form another side product that is to be known as NABR is going to be generated here. Okay, just try to find out which type of product is going to form. Definitely we got the answer, which we got the inversion product. Which type of inversion it is? We call it as inversion product here. We call it as inversion product. And which process is going to form? It follows the Walden inversion. It follows the Walden inversion. It follows the Walden inversion, where the product is and where the nucleophile has been attached, where the less crowding has been, where the less steric hindrance is generated, where methyl bromide is converted to the methyl iodide has been generated here. So we got here an example here. Okay now? Okay. Okay, we already know this. The order of the SN2 will be follow like this. It's going to form a SN2 follows the 1 degree, 2 degree and the tertiary. Okay now? Okay. Okay, if I consider, if before the taking the next exam, let me consider a term that is to be known as chiral. Chiral or chirality. I think you know this one. Okay, chiral or stereogenic center or stereogenic center, we call it as. In the high order we call it as stereogenic center, or some person we call it as asymmetric carbon. Called as asymmetric carbon. Asymmetric structure or asymmetric carbon. Okay, let me take an example. What do you mean by asymmetric or chiral? Okay, let me consider this is your carbon. So we already know that every carbon element will possess the 4 valency, that is to be known as tetravalency. Okay na? Every carbon will possess the 4 valency like this. Okay na? This is going to form like this. Is a wedge, it's a dash, and there is formation of the wedge here. Your wedge here. Okay, in this case we have to attach some constituent particles. Okay, let me attach first one. In the first case I am going to attach a first, that is to be known as that is going to be of A. A is my first constituent or substituent. In this case I am going to add here B. In the dash position I am going to add a C. In the wedge position I am going to add a D here. Okay, this type of, if any element, if any carbon which possesses the 4 different constituent or attachment, we call it as such carbon. We call it as such carbon is to be known as our chiral carbon. We denote it with the star here. Okay, this type of carbon is known as your chiral carbon, or we call it as asymmetric carbon, or your asymmetric carbon, or your chiral carbon. This type of elements we call it as chiral carbon like this. Okay, let me go with a specific example for you. Okay, here again we have to consider the carbon element here. Okay, let's go with the 4 bonds. Let's go with your 4 bonds. Here is your wedge. Instead of alphabet, I am going to take your, let me consider your firm elements. Let me take as fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. Okay, this is to be known as your chiral carbon. This is to be known your chiral carbon. This carbon is to be considered as your chiral carbon. Chiral carbon, or you call it as chiral center. Okay, this is to be known as chiral center. Okay na? Okay. Let me consider a special case to understand the SN2 mechanism by taking the chiral carbon complex. Let me take a chiral carbon center and we will go through the SN2 mechanism. How does it going to be proceed? Okay. Let me consider a complex which having the chiral center. Okay. Let me consider first one, that is to be our carbon here first. We have to take a carbon here. Then we have to go with the 4 different bonds. Okay. 4 different bonds here. Okay. Let me go with a single bond here. Another single bond and your dash position carbon and is your wedge position bond. Okay. Let me consider different types of your substituents. Okay. First here we are taking your as a methyl group here, methyl here, and is your hydrogen here. Okay. I am taking here as a your halogen definitely, that is of your bromide. Okay. I am taking here as a methyl, as a ethyl group. I am taking here C2H5 group and will consider here in the case. Okay. Okay. Let's go with the first step. Which is the first step here? We have to attack a nucleophile with respect to having a polar aprotic solvent. You have to consider here. Okay. Okay. Nucleophile I am considering here as sodium iodide. Here I am considering here. Sodium iodide is our nucleophile salt. But with respect to the solvent, we consider it as a solvent acetone, or you may take it as a DMF or DMSO is going to be generated in the case. You can take it which one you like. Okay, after the nucleophilic attack is going to definitely know that there is a 2 possibility here. The iodide may attack. This iodide definitely delta minus and your delta plus. It can be attacked from the front side or from the back side attack. Okay. Let me go with the first one. This iodide may attack the first one. This iodide may attack the first. This should be of frontal attack. Okay. Let me go with this one white color. Okay. Next one. This is going to be taken a different color. Okay. Okay. Let me go with the yellow color. Okay. The yellow color. The second step we going by the back side attack. Okay, if any compound which having the chiral center, there is a possibility of 2 types of attack can be possible. The white color is going to exhibit the front attack. The yellow color is going to exhibit the back attack. Okay, let's see how the product will be move or can be changed, can be seen like this. Okay, let us form the transition state here. Okay, let me form the first transition state for you. First we have to write the carbon here. Okay, we have to attack with either we can form with the back side attack or from the front side attack we can be generated here. Okay, let me go with from the back side attack. First one, which is our nucleophile here. Definitely we know that is our iodide is our nucleophile here. Here is your bromide. Bromide is present here. Remember that always opposite to the alkyl halide is going to be attacking of the nucleophile is going to be happen here. Okay, the dash is full. In the opposite we have to do this one. Okay, let me take here. In the case that's the opposite, that is going to be methyl hydrogen here, and I am taking here as a C2H5. Don't worry about the stereochemistry. Just remember that there is a formation of here. Transition state is going to be generated here. Here is the transition state is generated here, and there is a formation of concerted mechanism going to form. Simultaneously, there is a formation of carbon and iodine bond, and there is a breaking of the carbon and bromine bond is going to be generated. Why? Because carbon cannot accommodate the 5 bond geometry. Okay, that's why it's going to happen like this. Okay, let's see how this is going to be happen. Okay. Then the product, how this product is going to generate like this? The product is going to form like this. There is formation of iodine here, and your methyl group here, and your 2 complex, one on the dash, one on the wedge. One on the, let's go to C2H5 here, C2H5, and your H is going to be complex Okay, don't worry about the stereochemistry. Okay, don't worry. Just remember the product. Let's see the. Just observe the product. Okay. In this case, we have found the bromide complex, but in the case of we are finding the iodide products. This is going to form the inversion. We already studied this one. Okay, this is going to be formed as inversion product is going to be formed. Remember that in the case of the SN2 mechanism, we always found the two types of product. First one is to be known as inversion product. By forming the retention product. What do you mean by inversion product? Just opposite to the alkyl halide, there is attack of the nucleophile, that is to be known as inversion product. Okay, in SN2 mechanism we have preparing the inversion product. In the SN1 mechanism we already prepared the retention product. Okay, in the case of the SN1 mechanism we have prepared only the retention product, but in the case of SN2 mechanism we are preparing the both. We are preparing the racemic mixture, or we call it the enantiomers of inversion product, and there is a formation as our retention product is going to be also generated here. Okay, here we are going to preparing the two types of products. First one is to be known as inversion product, second one is known as our retention product. How does it going to be produced? Okay, without going the mechanism, we have to just go with a mirror image of this complex. You have to just take the mirror image of this complex. We have preparing the retention product. Okay, let me draw for you. Okay, carbon here. Here is a methyl. Why? Because it is planar. That's why there is no change in the stereochemistry. Okay, the iodine present here. Is going to be present like this. Okay, just mirror image of this. Okay, let's go with the in the wedge position there is a hydrogen here, and in the presence of the dash position we are having your ethyl. Okay, this is to be known as your retention product. This is your retention product. This is your retention product. Okay, remember that inversion product will always obtain when there will be a backside attack. When the nucleophile will attack from the backside, then it is going to form the inversion product. Retention product will happen only from the frontal attack. From the front side attack, there is formation of retention product. Instead of what will be retention product? The elimination of the previous halide, we are going to form the iodide here. Okay, with that we are forming the iodide here. With that we are forming another side product, that is to be known as sodium bromide is going to be generated here. We are going to preparing the side product. Okay, there is a formation of salt like sodium bromide is generated. But very important this you have to remember this retention and inversion product is going to form. It is going to be to be known as identical in nature, which are the composition or the total quantity is there is a formation of the 50% of the retention product here, and there is a formation of the 50% of the inversion product. The 50% of inversion product and the 50% of the retention product, we call it as a mixture of these. We call it as a racemic mixture. We call it as racemic mixture. Racemic mixture. We call it individually. We call it as enantiomers. We call it as retention enantiomer and the inversion enantiomer. There is a preparation of the racemic mixture. What do you mean by racemic mixture? The 50% of the retention product and 50% of the inversion product. The combination of both two, we call it as our racemic mixture. The very important question will be arise. What do you mean by racemic mixture? To remember this one. Okay, this is the whole mechanism of the SN2 mechanism. This is your whole mechanism. Okay, the whole mechanism will be follow like this. Okay. Okay, this is we already know that what do you mean by SN1 and what do you mean by the SN2 mechanism, how does it going to be formed. Okay, let's try to find out what are the basic differences between the SN1 and the SN2. The basic differences. Basic differences between SN1 and your SN2. SN1 and your SN2. Just try to find out what are the difference between the SN1 and your SN2. Okay, as the name suggests, what does a SN1 suggest? What is the name of the SN1? That is unimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. What do you mean by unimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction? It is an unimolecular type of reaction. It is an unimolecular type of reaction. It's a unimolecular. Okay. We already know what is the definition of the SN2. Definitely we know that it is a bimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. Just we write as a bimolecular. It is a bimolecular type of reaction. It is okay. It is a bimolecular type of reaction. What's the next step? What's the next point to differentiate between them? Okay, nucleophilic substitution reaction. It is a two-step reaction. It is a two-step process or two-step reaction. It's a two-step reaction. Remember this, SN1 stands for the two-step process, but SN2 mechanism follows the only one-step mechanism. It's an only one-step mechanism. Which type of mechanism does it follow? It follows the concerted mechanism, which follow where there is a continuously simultaneously formation and breaking of a bond will be taking place. Okay, here the rate of the or the order of the kinetics. It is one order, or molecularity is one order, or first order we call it as one order, or we can call it as first order. Let me go with the first order. Is going to follow the first order. First order kinetics is going to be formed in the case of the SN1. Okay, in the case of SN2 it is a second order. It's a second order kinetics or second order mechanism. It follows the second order kinetics is going to be formed. Okay, which type of solvent does it going to form? Okay, which solvent is required here? In the case of SN1, we require the polar protic solvent. We require the polar protic solvent. We require here. Polar protic solvent is required. Let me take it water, alcohol, ETOH is going to be required, etc. We go with another few examples. In the case of the SN2 mechanism, we require polar aprotic solvent is required. Polar aprotic solvent is required. Polar aprotic solvent is required. Can you give the example? That is DMF, DMSO and acetone. These are and etc. where the examples for the polar protic and the polar aprotic solvent. Okay, how does the rate depends on this? The rate will always follow the, in the case of SN1, the rate is depend on only on the which one? The concentration of the nucleophile, only on the nucleophile. But in the case of the SN2 mechanism, the rate will depend on both the substrate and your nucleophile. The substrate and your nucleophile both are very deciding components which are very useful for your constitution of your rate. Okay, how does the order of reactivity depends? How does the order of the reactivity depends? Okay, how does the order of reactivity will be depend? Okay, let's discuss the order of the reactivity. Okay, now? Okay, order. Okay, we know that the order of reactivity depends by the SN1 mechanism follows the 3-degree alkyl halide, then secondary alkyl halide, and we go with the primary alkyl halide. But in the case of the SN2 mechanism, it follows the 1-degree alkyl halide, then secondary alkyl halide, and last one is tertiary alkyl halide. Why does it follow this type of fashion? Why? Because it follows, in the case of the SN1 mechanism, there is a formation of intermediate. Which type of intermediate does it follow? It follows the intermediate form, which is going to be of carbocation. Maybe that's why the tertiary degree is tertiary carbocation order will be 3 degree, then 2 degree, then 1 degree. And in the case of the SN2 mechanism, there is no formation of intermediate, but in this case there is formation of the transition state. This transition following the geometry, that is of trigonal bipyramidal geometry, is going to be followed like this. Okay, these are the basic differences. Okay, we already studied about the order, reactivity. Okay, like this we already saw the differences between the SN1 and the SN2 mechanism. Okay, I think you got this. Okay, let you go with an example. That's a problem for you. Okay, try to check mechanism of the following name reaction. Following name reaction. Okay, we go with very important. Already we discussed this, but I have not told you the from which mechanism does it move. Okay, the first one is to be known as Finkelstein reaction. Just you have to find out the from which mechanism does it follow. Finkelstein reaction or mechanism. Okay, next one, the second one, that is your Schwarz reaction. Schwarz reaction. Okay, you have to find from which mechanism does it going to be follow. This is your question to solve. Okay, try to solve the from which mechanism does it going to be follow. Okay, in today's class we have studied the SN2 mechanism in the complete manner. Okay, we have seen the general reaction, we have seen the condition, which type of solvent is going to require, which type of whether it's going to be formation of intermediate or not. We have seen the order of the reactivity, and we have already saw some examples to check the which type of order of reactivity does the SN2 mechanism follows. Okay, let's see you in the next class.